Thanks for listening.
I don't listen to him ever.
Wow.
So why do you ask again?
That's crazy.
Hey everyone, welcome to Nerd on the Podcast you didn't need but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome.
Yeah, you are.
Today, the world has been taken over by zombies.
It has?
And your survival is solely based on the home you make and the rules you keep. Like, always ask for help.
Yeah.
And cardio is number one.
Always.
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 We're talking today, Zombieland Double Tap.
Ooh.
I am Ollie, one of your hosts.
It's time to nut up or shut up. This is Tom.
You need a new phrase.
I'm Caitlin.
And I am Josh. And this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation, powered by Patreon. Yeah,
It's fun. It's where you can support your favorite creators.
The Nerd On Nation is essentially how we are able to grow and keep the lights on. And as a member of the Nerd On Nation, you get fun stuff like access to a Discord server in which you can talk to us and other fans. Also, bonus episodes. That's fun. That's new. Bonus episodes. Early access to our episodes.
I gotta get this on
merch.
Merch.
Early access to merch and discounts on merch. But yeah, for as little as $5 a month, you can support Nerd On. But yeah, check it out, nerdon.io/Patreon.
It's essentially like that, but it's not really that.
It is that.
It is that.
It is that.
It's that.
It's that.
Did I say essentially again?
You do essentially.
Yeah, he's
hey,
close.
Josh. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps the lights on.
Yeah, keeps the lights on.
Essentially.
Essentially. This episode is also brought to you in part by our friends over at Comixology, the internet's #1 source for comic books.
We're talking Zombieland today. You might want to pick up some zombie-related books.
Like The Walking Dead. He
Like
was
The
reading The
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead.
Yeah,
Check
he
it
was.
out.
And he folded it and said how unrealistic that was.
Yeah.
Because you know what? He wasn't reading it on the best interface to read it on, where you get panel to panel and it tells you how to read the comic book as well as
If only.
He knows it's
tells you
coming
information.
because I said I was going to do it.
Tells you information of where the story leads you next. And it is the #1 source for comic book reading.
Bought the triangle.
That's our ad read.
He actually bought a triangle just to
I can
do
make
a
this
ding.
even worse. I got it on Amazon.
Oh my god.
Powered by Comixology.
Anyway, which is actually
Another
owned-
affiliate of ours.
Oh my gosh.
So shop on Amazon.
Help our Amazon overlords, please.
Wow.
No, or just shop local.
Anyway,
instead.
you
They're
can check
probably
out.
delivering this to your device with their content delivery system.
Anyway, you can check out Comixology, nerdon.io/Comixology. A little of every purchase does go to supporting Nerd On. Good stuff.
These pockets.
But really, Amazon is an affiliate, so we have links on our website.
Essentially.
Just for you.
Essentially.
You go,
Anyway, that is the business, the
That's the
housekeeping. Doobity-boo-boo.
Sweep it away before Tom can do more.
I was
Yep.
going to say, after I gave you all that shit about saying essentially, I was really hoping it's like, well, if you like Comixology, essentially, I was like, God, why did you say it? I was wanting you to say it so bad.
At San Diego Comic-Con, I did this interview. And so a part of listening, active listening, you're kind of taught, yeah.
You kind of you can echo whatever they're saying. You kind of nod along with them.
But I did it kind of, I don't know. I didn't listen. Actually, no, I did listen to it because I edited it. And yeah, he was right. So ever since then, anytime I say the word yeah, even if I am like it's actually a part of the conversation, I'm like,
Just throw in the occasional, what's that like?
What?
And then you'll
tell me more about
keep
that.
their attention.
How does that make you feel?
Well,
Wow.
it reminded me of when one of my friends moved to LA, and they said something really stupid. I say, oh, interesting. It's my like, shut up. And then so I hear, yeah. Let's move on.
I saw a meme that was like, if I say that's crazy, that's kind of your cue to wrap up your story.
Oh,
It's not my words. I saw
that's
it on
interesting.
But how do
Reddit.
you say it? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, like that whole like, man, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
it
interesting.
does sound like
You
it's
say
That's
that to
kinda
me every time.
I typically use oh for sure.
For sure.
nice.
So what's crazy is we are having an episode right now.
But also
That's crazy.
About Zombieland.
Yeah.
yeah.
But we're actually not joined by Corey because he's dealing with all the family drama.
All
You know,
the
he
family
just
drama.
beats on
He's
his
getting
family.
his eyeballs
We keep saying
changed.
family drama. He's He's not having
No,
crazy family issues.
You know where that comes from?
What?
Because Josh, every time he would say one of us are going, he's like, they're dealing with family. It's
Dealing
like,
with family.
they're
Instead of
hanging
they're
out.
hanging out with family
He's like,
at a
Dealing.
legitimate event.
they're dealing with family. It was just like,
dealing.
damn. And so it
We're
just
pulling back the curtain for
It
this
became
one.
a joke. It became a joke. So that's fun. So,
So
Ollie,
he's dealing with family stuff
yeah,
or
like,
eyeball
I'm
stuff.
the audience surrogate.
yes, you are.
Every episode, somebody's first.
Hell yeah. They're dealing
I
with
got
family.
you, fam.
So yeah, we don't have Corey with us today, but it is a sequel to a film, and it is one whole film. So that means at the end of this episode, we are going to give it a rating.
An entire film?
An entire film, just
Crazy.
one. We're only going to rate the second
That's
one.
crazy.
But now that allows us to
Guess that
Grump.
Zombies
There's always
Wow.
Zombieland.
I hate this.
I got the Avengers theme in there.
So everyone at home and on YouTube, if you're watching it, this is your first time listening to the show, Guess That Grump is a segment that we're going to do now, where we're going to guess who's going to have the lowest rating, 1 out of 5 amongst the group. Whoever's the lowest in the group will be the Grump of the week. And we encourage everyone at home to play along and send us your numbers, what you thought of the film. And we always include our Patreon in that as well.
Yeah, we put a poll.
Our little Nerd On Nation members. And since I always explain and never mess that up,
Yeah, because he made it up.
because I always mess it up, actually, I'm going to guess that the Grump will be Ali.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow,
interesting.
that's crazy.
No, it's not.
Ali?
That's crazy. For me, I'm going to pick Josh. I feel like
Are
I've
we
been
just going
in a
down the
while.
table?
Yeah.
Oh, let me
Let's
get
pass it along.
these notes.
Because I am passing.
Oh yeah, you have to write it down now.
Yeah.
I
right
think
down.
that it is going to be Ali.
Me too. Okay, so
two
two for
votes
me.
on Ali.
Do we have Patreon's the results?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
do.
do. I have it up right here.
So first,
Okay, go ahead.
your choice.
And I think it's gonna be
May.
Tom.
It's gonna be
It's
May.
gonna be May.
I think yeah, I think it's gonna be Tom.
Okay.
Tom.
Okay.
And then Patreon thinks it's gonna be me.
Okay.
It's gonna
With
be
Ollie
you.
and Corey following closely behind.
Okay.
So 2 votes on Ali. So he'll go last. 1 vote on Josh from Ali. 1 vote on me from Caitlin. And then 1 vote on Caitlin from our members of the Nerd On Nation.
Which is
Join
fair.
today at nerdon.io/Patreon.
We said that already.
Josh is like, I'm gonna get that whole $4 worth out of this triangle.
That's the
I'm
only
gonna get it
reason
out.
why I said it that way.
Now I'm going to be like looking out for that noise.
How can I read an ad right now?
It's like when Caitlin gets a notification on Twitch.
Freaks
That's
out.
me in this triangle right now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So the votes are in, and now we move on to the next part, the complete spoiler of that segment, which is our first impressions and our initial reactions.
Yeah.
Caitlin, you like zombies?
Boy, do you.
No, it took me a really long time to actually desensitize myself to zombies.
Well, they're not
I was
real.
actually very pleased because I hadn't seen Zombieland 1 back in 2009
That's crazy.
Oh.
at all.
Did you watch the first one for preparation?
Yeah, for this.
Okay.
I feel like I couldn't watch Zombieland 2 without
You
seeing the
could-
first one.
You really
Fair
couldn't.
point.
It sets everything up. And I wasn't. Shaun of the Dead scared me. Let's put that out there right now.
Okay.
I'm very
It's
easy
got
to
a-
scare. You can throw a bag of Doritos behind me and me not even see it, but hear the air whiffing,
You
and
can
it
print
will
a document.
terrify
Yes.
me.
I was gonna say Josh can print
You
stuff.
can print a document. You can open a door. I will be terrified.
Yeah.
I'm very easy to scare. And so I was like very prepared to be terrified for this movie. And I wasn't. I was actually invested in what was
Oh,
happening.
you weren't terrified of a comedy?
It was all right. When you
Darker
word it
comedy.
like that, but yes, I wasn't scared of the comedy. But I really liked the first film. And as the first film ended, I was excited and nervous about seeing the second one because I was like, the first one was really good. And now I
Imagine-
understand a lot of jokes that I never got.
Imagine how
over
good
the
it was
last
in
10 years.
2009.
Yeah, no, it was probably way better to see it in 2009. I was getting so much nostalgia for
Not up and or shut up.
long ago. Yeah, I've heard so many quotes from the first one, and I just like kind of knew, but never really knew.
You did that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's most of my life.
Yeah.
Spit fuck.
Yeah. So going into the second one, I was like excited but nervous. I was like, is it gonna be as good as the first one was? Because like it was really good. And
So your impressions are?
I had to give a little background. First of all,
You're giving
sir.
a lot of foreplay.
I know.
Skip to the end.
Hey, it's important.
Wow.
You do.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
I really enjoyed it. I think that it did everything that it should have done
For a sequel?
for a sequel,
And for as
and
far apart as they
just
were.
a little bit extra that I needed. The only thing I wish is that the stakes would have been a little higher.
Mhm.
Yep.
Not that they weren't high in some spots. It was just like I'm watching the first film, but it's the second one, and I know these people already. So I really enjoyed it. I
Mhm.
like the movie.
Okay. Oh, she said it this time.
I
like
said
the
it.
movie.
Catchphrase.
I like the movie.
Nice.
Good job.
It's good. Anytime. Triangle.
No,
Triangle.
this,
More triangle.
this is bingo.
Yeah.
This is a bingo.
Yeah.
Cross that off.
I
Yeah. Okay.
really liked it
That's crazy.
a lot.
That's crazy.
The
You're just assholes tonight.
the first.
This is what happens with the later recordings.
Yeah, the first one I really enjoyed. I get a big kick out of comedy zombie movies like Shaun of the Dead.
It's terrifying.
And 20 days later.
And I also
More
like
terrifying.
So funny.
I also like that they are very my brain just completely went mushy. The director that did Scott Pilgrim,
Oh, Edgar Wright.
Edgar
Edgar
Wright.
Wright.
I feel like these are very stylized.
Little love letters
yeah,
to
yeah,
him.
yeah.
The text on screen,
Mm.
the different ways that
Very Baby
things
Driver.
cut. So I really dig it. I love the little jokes. I really do think that the cast plays well together. So it was a lot of fun to see, because what this one did for me is that it expanded the world almost quite literally. You got to see more of this version of the zombie apocalypse, and it was really cool to see like
Babylon.
Babylon, and
Mhm.
like other people out there, because they even acted like they were the last ones on
Yeah.
the planet, and so it was cool to see that that wasn't true, and also to see the types of characters that were out there.
Literal characters.
And I like because you do have, I think it comes with a bit of an expectation of when you have a sequel that is 10 years after the
Old.
first one, there's a little bit of a fan service in a sense of like,
We have to
like
remind
some-
the audience why they like the first one.
playing back to some of the jokes from the first one,
Yeah.
and even like belittling some of the jokes from the first one, which I really dug. So
you can't just say something that rhymes and make it a new catchphrase.
you can. But yeah. that
Shout out
was-
to Incredibles
It
2.
was good.
They had to just give a whole PSA like sorry.
Tom?
Okay, not down the line.
So Zombieland 1 was one of my favorite zombie films.
That makes a
when
lot
it
of
came
sense.
out. Because it was so like such a breath of fresh air, a new taste in the mouth when you just had just giant meat in it, for such a long
Yeah.
period. I mean,
Human flesh?
Yeah.
Human flesh.
You had Dawn of the Dead.
You had, the Romero stuff that were the classics, and then you had like 28 Days Later, you had Shaun of the Dead. But even then, like this was America's kind of like take on Shaun of the Dead a bit, where it was like,
Yeah.
let's just take this genre and then put it in the background, and then like, let's just have these stories of people's connecting with each other and, stuff
And
like that.
guns. Lots
Yeah,
of guns.
it's very-
America.
It's very,
Thank
so-
God for
trucks,
rednecks.
Second Amendment.
Thank
motherfucker.
God for rednecks.
Yeah. So that also just kind of had like in 2009 I was graduating high school, so like it was very much in my fucking wheelhouse of like, yeah, let's just have fun, have a movie. You have the nerdy guy, you have the outrageous guy, you had the the love interest, you had the little girl, so you had Little Miss Sunshine. So like it was just fun. They hit in all the right areas. You had Amber Heard, Room 406, and it just had this kind of frenetic energy to it that kind of just made it like an instant classic, like a American Pie or like a Sex Drive kind of
Yeah.
feel, a Euro Trip. That it was that teen raunch comedy-ish feel, but in the zombie world. And the sequel, like I very much was like, they had a show and it just died immediately. But then they had this sequel coming out, and I was really looking forward to seeing like, okay, let's see what happens. I didn't have high expectations for it at all, because like, when does a sequel that takes this long to ever come out ever be that good?
Clerks 3 or 2 rather.
Was it 10 years?
Yeah, it was 10 years.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So it's interesting when that stuff kind of happens, and so getting
rare.
this in, and like the thing that I really enjoyed about it, and you kind of see it through, is that the entire cast would never come back unless the other cast was there,
Yeah.
and so they knew like, hey, if none of the like original people are going to show up, we're not going to be there.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like literally probably the only reason to do it is if you can get everybody back.
You know, like I think that's a privilege we have now in today's filmmaking culture, but that wasn't the case so a long time
Oh,
ago.
yeah,
You know,
for
you
sure.
get Jaws 4 when you have like family members from like the original cast who aren't even there anymore. It's like, why are we making this?
Well, my very first version of that was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the
Mhm.
movies, like saying a different April O'Neil
Yeah.
and being weirded out. And I think a couple of the
And heartbroken.
turtles sounded different.
Seeing
Yeah, heartbroken.
seeing a different Rachel Dawes for Dark Knight. So
I'm kidding. But no, so going to the sequel,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was very sequel-y, you know, like it's a lot of fan service-y. You know, it doesn't really, to me, do a lot other than just see where these characters are 10 years later.
Mhm.
I thought it was shot a little differently than I expected it to be. You know, it has a little bit of that new age look that I'm not too familiar with in terms of like how digital things look. Not too keen on that. I was really glad to see like they just kind of wanted to expand a little bit more like what happens 10 years later with these characters, and it's good to see that they have pathways. And I'm just kind of in the sense of like I just want to see a third one so it's rounded out.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So like
I already know. Later on we're going to talk about it because I already
So
have my what I
yeah,
for
so I
three.
just want to see a third
Okay.
one because like I would like to see this as like
You know, a not so bad trilogy.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot
Yeah.
of, you know, we talk about
our year episodes, and it's like it's hard to figure out like a beautiful trinity of films.
We're gonna write
You
out
just want to
we're
be
gonna
able to
run
do
out
this
of
for an anniversary.
trilogies. Yeah.
But you know, there's not that many because sometimes they just get destroyed by the second one.
or by the third one, you're like, oh,
Right.
we can't do it because it's not.
It's
You know?
not up to.
So I would love to just
Or-
be like, oh, this is just a fun, wonderful, nice trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ollie?
I kind of had a very similar experience going into it. Like I loved the first one way back in 2009. Remember it very vividly and seen it a bunch of times. So once in theaters and many times like at home and all that good stuff. And I loved the first one. Woody Harrelson is hysterical. Jesse Eisenberg, awesome. And Emma Stone, one of her first ones that I remember her from.
This is like right after Superbad, I think. And
Yeah.
this was like when she was just super
So-
hot girl.
Huge crush on her, of course. You know, so
It's amazing that,
helps.
all four of the main casts have gone on now to be Academy Award nominees or winner.
That was the trailer
every
for that. Was that it?
commercial.
Yeah.
That was
in
hilarious.
every trailer.
But
yeah,
it's
I appreciated that.
It's kind of like what Billy West said about how, you know, he worked with J.K. Simmons and how
Oh,
like, he
yeah.
just kind of, he's like, he's still coming back as the yellow M&M. You
Yeah.
know, like
Mhm.
he got Whiplash, Oscar, and then comes back as the M&M.
But going into it, I was a little worried in the sense that, one, it's been 10 years,
Mhm.
but your cast looks fantastic still. So it works. And I love the side-by-side poster. Like their posters it's identical to the original poster. And even like the pose and the lettering and all that stuff. So it was a real treat to see them side by side grown up like 10, especially Abigail. Like you can see her obviously a lot older. But going into it, I got pretty much exactly what I expected, which is let's leverage what was so successful about the first one into the second one. I had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, but ultimately I wish it had, I wish it tried a bit more. And a couple of things that it did were a little like, we'll talk about this more, but like Madison's character.
Mm.
Was it Palms?
We're not qualms, but you know, it's my initial whatever. Yeah, that poster, the side by side. Look
crazy.
up side by side. The poster, like they're identical. It's awesome. I love the way that looks.
Everyone at home, you can just Google it. Just say Zombieland poster.
Yeah.
Throw it up on the screen.
Really enjoyed it. A lot of laughs, especially the Thomas Middleditch and Luke Wilson's
Character.
extended cameo characters. Okay. But yeah, ultimately a couple misses here and there. I thought I had a lot more potential than we could have seen something a little bit more daring, I guess. And like, I don't know how else to say it, but it felt a little comfortable.
Mhm.
But I had a great time in the theater.
Not as comfortable as Hangover 2.
Right. I won't go that far. Yeah. But I'm super interested in the third one. I own the first one, and I'm probably going to buy the second one.
Nice.
So
Everyone at home, you have it. And that gives you a little idea of who are going to be the Grump or who not going to be the Grump.
So that brings us to our meat and potatoes of the show. We're going to do a little brief synopsis as well as the production. Since Corey's not here, I'll do the brief synopsis at my
Okay.
best of my abilities. This takes place 10 years actually, after the first
10
one.
years.
And we have the whole gang: Tallahassee, Columbia, Wichita, Columbia Pictures, Columbus, Wichita, as well as Little Rock. The 4 main characters of the first one, mowing down zombies and introducing this is the world of Zombieland, and trying to find a new home, and they find it at the White House.
Hell yeah.
We kind of see where their relationships have stood. Tallahassee has become the surrogate father for Little Rock, even though she is a big old grown woman and needs a man. Apparently, she wants to find people who are her age, and she's rebellious, just like all the girls are at that age, apparently. And she wants to leave. And then we see Columbus as well as Wichita is still in love, enjoying Christmas on a Thanksgiving day or a November day. And he just pops the question he wants to marry her, giving her the Hope Diamond, and she freaks out. And the 2 sisters run away, and taking the beast, the car that Tallahassee has been building. And so for months, Tallahassee and Columbus kind of just stay in mourning, realizing they were duped, they were left behind. But we find out that Little Rock has fallen in love with this new kid from Berkeley, and he will now be known as Berkeley.
Pacifist from Berkeley,
who's just playing guitars and smoking weed.
A poser.
Yeah.
And after that, once they want to go, Columbus as well as Tallahassee wants to have some retail therapy and hang out. They come across Zoe Deutsch's character. I don't know her name in the movie, but Madison. And they bring her along, and a heartbroken Columbus has a wonderful, sexy night with her, because if it wasn't with him, she was going to take her chances and sleep with the old guy. And then as that happens, they hear a clatter from the garage, and then they find Wichita has returned to get some guns back. What do we do now with the forlonged lovers? She explains that Little Rock had ditched her the same way that they had ditched Tallahassee and Columbus, by writing a note and just being douches about it with Berkeley, and took the beast. And so then we get the reveal that she is now the ex-girlfriend, even though whatever. And they have to use a minivan to drive across the country to go to Graceland to go find this wonderful Elvis performance area that Tallahassee wants to go to. Zoe Deutsch's character gets bit during a little skirmish while they're trying to get to an RV. The RV gets deflated. They're in the SUV again, or minivan. We supposedly kill her because she's throwing up everywhere, having terrible facial transformations. We get to Graceland, no one's there. We get to a Elvis.
Columbus, they said that he went out and shot her in the woods because she ran off.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought,
we hear a gunshot and it's all said. Gets you thinking one way or the other. And then we end up we're going to go into this like Elvis museum where Rosario Dawson's character owns. And they stay the night there, and Tallahassee finds a romantic interest in a sense. We get the inkling that he wants to move on and hit the road again because Hunter Wolf got to do his thing, and his indigenous
his Blackfoot
bloodlines are boiling, and he wants to be able to go on the road again.
Call of the Buffalo.
Yes, but he performs a little Elvis impressions, and Rosario Dawson's character, share a lovely night together. And in the morning, they are greeted by Luke Wilson as well as Thomas Middleditch's characters, who are facsimile copy replicas of Tallahassee as well as Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And they are fought by a new breed of zombies, the T-800s, as they are so-called dubbed. And these guys don't get down by 1 shot or 2 shots or even 7 to 20 shots. There are bad motherfuckers out here. The 2 facsimiles get killed, sadly. And then we leave on their giant monster truck to the next location, which is Babylon, aka Babylon.
But they actually have to go in the minivan again because Tallahassee doesn't know how to drive the monster truck.
So they go into the minivan again, and they end up in Babylon, where Little Rock as well as Berkeley are, where they melt your guns because there's a no gun zone area. It's a big little hippie area, happy, big, walls that protect you from evil forces outside. And there's a giant tower there. So they all get there, and Little Rock's like, I'm happy here, and I don't want to go. And Tallahassee's mission's done, and now we all of a sudden get Madison back. So now we have the whole happy gang together, but not what they wanted. Tallahassee decides to leave, and he sees a whole horde of T-800s come back. So he's like, hey, we got to fight. We got to figure this out. So they just Home Alone them, figure out how to kill all these zombies.
Home Alone the zombies.
Home Alone Jigsaw them. And through a daring leap of faith, they managed to kill all the zombies off this giant tower. In
the way his Blackfoot ancestors killed the
The
herds
Great
of
Zombie
buffaloes.
Run.
Yep.
The Great Zombie Run as well, and that became the zombie kill of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And Little Rock realizes Berkeley's a poser,
Century.
and Columbus as well as Wichita realize that they're the only ones meant for each other. And Madison gives back the hope ring, and then they
Makes out with
kiss
Berkeley.
and be happy.
And get married.
And then they get into a convertible with Rosario Dawson's character, and then ride off and realize that home is where you make it.
Oh.
No.
That sounds about right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
And
we find out about the Bill Murray
Got
during,
married.
during some post credit scenes. So spoilers, but yes, go check out the post credit scenes. Not the last one, but just the mid.
If you're listening to this, you should have seen the movie.
But yeah, that's it.
And Bill Murray kicks a lot of zombie ass
Before he got married.
before he got married.
So yeah, brief some production.
Production. It was distributed by Sony Pictures. The director is Ruben Fleischer,
Fleischer.
who did Zombieland, Venom, and Gangster Squad. Producer is Gavin Pallone, who did Secret Window, Zombieland, My Super Ex-Girlfriend, Drop Dead Gorgeous. The writers are Rhett Reese, who did Zombieland, Deadpool, Deadpool 2, G.I. Joe, Retaliation. Paul Wernick, who did Life, and a writing partner of Rhett Reese, Dave Callum, who did Doom, Expendables, Godzilla, the upcoming Wonder Woman, 1984, and Shang-Chi. I probably butchered that.
No,
sorry.
I got it.
And then the cast is Woody Harrelson from True Detective, People vs. Larry Flint, Natural Born Killers. Jesse Eisenberg from The Squid and the Whale, The Social Network, and American Ultra. Emma Stone from Easy A, The Help, and The Favorite. Abigail Breslin from Little Miss Sunshine, Definitely Maybe, August, Osage County. Zoe Deutsch. Thank you. Before I Fall, Vampire Academy, Set It Up, Why Him? Rosario Dawson from Sin City, Eagle Eye, Clerks 2, and Rent. Luke Wilson from Idiocracy, Old School, The Royal Tenenbaums. Thomas Middleditch from Final Girls, King of Summer, Silicon Valley. And Avon Jogia from Shaft, Tut, and Now Apocalypse.
That's Berkeley.
That's Berkeley.
If you want your formula for a good 10-year later sequel, it's Rosario Dawson apparently.
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
Yeah.
She was in Clerks too.
Yeah, released on October 18th of this year, obviously. Runtime is 93 minutes. Budget was 42 to 48 million, and then it grossed 32 million. Rotten Tomatoes score is 67% critics, 90% audience score.
Quite the swing.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
And as we know, the chasm continues to grow between
Although
critics
a lot of
and
the
audience.
critiques I was reading, we won't get into this too much, but a lot of I was reading, they were like describing what a sequel is, and I'm like, they're like, oh, just it's similar to the first one, and it's the same characters, and it's this. I'm like,
That's what a sequel
you're
is.
literally describing a sequel.
It's well done, critics. You've cracked
You
the code.
did it.
It's a sequel.
That's
Well,
crazy.
To me, that's just reminiscent of all the IGN comments about every game ever. That's like,
It didn't revolutionize graphics and
Right. Oh,
gameplay.
gasp.
It's like shut your.
It's like
Shut
this,
the
this
hole.
looks like Division 1, and it's like,
was
yeah,
Division 2.
Yeah.
it's a
Yes.
sequel to Division 1.
That's upsetting to me.
it came after the first one.
It should be all
That-
different.
that
it's
means
like then it
it's a
won't be a sequel. Anyways,
Yeah.
I digress.
I mean, let's get into it. Favorite
Yeah, let's get in.
Yeah.
Favorite part. You know what? Okay, so kind of favorite parts, but slightly favorite character. Fucking anything Zoe Deutsch's character
Oh my
says.
God.
Madison.
Big, small, big, small,
So
big, small.
cute.
So
Like,
cute.
I
She was
fucking
great.
Baby
hate that
line.
character.
I know.
But like
I
the
love it.
acting,
But she nailed it.
is so
She nailed
good. It also helps because she's like, I find her very, very cute because she's the daughter of Lorraine McFly.
is she?
She
Oh.
is.
Oh.
Lorraine McFly,
Not the
actress.
fictional character, though.
No, yes.
The multiverse is growing.
Oh my God.
Next, you're going to
Marty.
tell me Ghostbusters is
Leah,
in this
Leah
too.
Thompson.
Oh, okay.
She's her daughter. I was like,
I
of
see it.
course, Marty McFly's kind of really, this little sexy
All right.
mom is like that one. Like, so she plays that kind of like too shy for her own good kind of thing. But then
Yeah.
this in the 2019,
1911.
I know 2019 level of like, she's like, we're gonna have sex right now, or else like I was in a freezer for years. Like, oh shit, like, but that's so true. Oh, I love
Very
almost
opposite.
everything that she said.
Yeah.
I loved at the beginning, they're getting comfortable into the White House, and Tallahassee's sitting in the chair, and he's like, "I'll do whatever. I'm gonna kiss hands and shake babies." And I was like,
I
You'll
love
bring
that
a real
line.
dignity to the office.
I love that line.
I liked the way he wrapped presents. I just
Oh.
took it out. He was the fattest president.
And did you see when they showed it in the background?
Yeah.
When they're like having that really intense conversation and it literally like swivels over so you can be like, there it is. He
Mhm.
ripped it right off the wall.
Yep. I pretty much anything with Woody Harrelson,
Mm.
like it was just constantly hysterical. Like his disdain for that minivan was
Oh.
so funny.
Well, it's funny because it's like it's his Twinkie
Yeah,
for this movie. It's his
this
Twinkie.
movie's too.
it's his obsession.
But
but in
one thing
reverse.
I love about Woody Harrelson is like his physicality, his performances. Like I forget how dope like a pump action sawed off shotgun is every once in a
Oh,
while,
yeah.
and he
In
just makes it
slow
look
motion?
so cool. Just
he pulled that character.
you just use it like as if it's a handgun. It's
Yeah.
like I forget, like man, Left 4 Dead games, you know, like these like high octane action games where you're just shooting zombies. Like
yeah.
this is so cool.
I loved specifically with the minivan when he's been kicking the mirror like the whole movie, and then finally it breaks, and she goes, "What was that?" And he goes, "Satisfying." It just,
Well, I love like he kicks the mirror once.
Yeah.
one of the times, and it just like folds,
Yeah.
and then you see him in the background like fixing it.
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Um,
mad
like,
about it.
like it didn't even break.
Or when she's like, I have all this luggage. Can you help me? He's like, of course I'll help you. Wait a
Just shuts
second.
it.
And then just
Oh
close
my
the thing. and
God.
turns off. And I was like, she's
She's
like,
like, my luggage is in there. He's like, no,
No,
it's not.
Which, if you think about it, luggage is safe.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh,
It's
I
probably
drive back.
still there.
I loved
Um,
him orchestrating like that one scene where they first meet the T-800.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
and he's
yeah.
on top of the RV or whatever
Oh,
it is, and he's like
Columbus.
orchest-
Columbus.
Yeah, Columbus
Yeah.
is like
Oh, yeah.
He's Captain
2
America.
o'clock, 3 o'clock. I was like, that's kind of dope.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
Captain America.
never mind. It's a Homer.
Yeah, it's over. Don't waste your
Um,
bullets.
Nope, save him.
The one thing that I always loved as an aspect of Zombieland 1, and they only did it once, but it was like the zombie kill of the week.
Mm.
I know that it was originally going to be a TV show, and that was going to be every week there was going to be a new one.
Oh, that would've
But
been
this
good.
was fun. I mean, the Leaning Tower of
I
The
would've
Leaning
liked
Tower
it.
of Pizza was
I was like,
a
Oh
little
my God, that's
ridiculous,
awesome.
but it was funny.
but this
that's the
movie.
point.
The fact that he had to crank it a couple more times.
Yeah, it was
With
like,
a- what was it,
what the
carjack or
fuck?
something?
Yeah, it's a carjack. But the-
Carjack on the
no,
Leaning
to me,
Tower
I just,
pizza.
well, that's very Looney Tunes where it's like they cut at the tree
Yeah.
and then it's just like, all right, the person's there, boom, one more. But then
One
this guy's
more.
like, he had to keep pumping a couple. I was like, yo, you don't know that. You don't know how many more pumps you needed.
I guess the thing that I would say about Zombieland in like overall is there's a sense of it like they're not trying to change the world. It's just like a zany, silly. It's a popcorn flick.
Well,
yeah.
It's Walking Dead if it was a comedy.
yeah.
It's like when the world is over, there are no more rules.
I like that they were also reading the Walking Dead comic
Yeah.
in there
Uh,
and being like, oh, this is totally unrealistic.
Well, I feel like
like
if you want to have an action movie with a ton of weapons and violence and stuff like that, it becomes marginally more okay if those are like soulless zombies.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like an excuse to just watch like awesome action.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, the point of like Walking Dead as a show is like when someone becomes zombified, it's sad because you've been with that character for like at least a couple episodes,
It's a good point.
season.
And it's always tragic.
It's drama, and then this one's here, like they're just drones. Like
Yeah.
who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Other than like it's a clown one or like oh shit, and like
Ugh.
Madison's turning into a zombie. This is really sad. And
Yeah.
it's like like oh
well,
shit.
even like every character that got murrayed,
yeah.
oh.
it's never like you don't spend too much time on it. They don't dwell on it. It's not. It's just like okay, bye.
I mean,
Yeah.
like the one thing I really did like was that fact when Madison was quote unquote turning. You found out she didn't turn. She was having an allergic reaction to almonds
Eating
or nuts.
nuts.
That
But
makes you
like
look like a zombie.
as
apparently.
much as like cool, like in my male mind, I'm like cool. She's a hot chick that's getting like helping him get over like his ex. She she dresses hot, but like she's kind of stupid, and she has like she's just kind of nice. She's just such a nice human being, but she's really dumb.
Mhm.
So it's like when she turns, it's like she doesn't deserve this. Like
Yeah.
even though like
Yeah.
I wasn't with her, but like she doesn't deserve this fate to happen to her.
no.
And it's really sad when she starts like throwing up and like turning. She's like, "Don't look at me." And it's like it's that tragic, take that Walking Dead tends to have. It's like I'm turning, like don't like. It's like oh, it's so sad, and then she comes back and it's fine. But like when they do that again with Thomas Middleditch and Luke Wilson's character, it's like
Oh.
they're kind of asshole-y because you're like, oh well, this
They're
is
one upping.
well,
A lot.
mainly Luke Wilson's character, Florida, whatever his name is. But he, he's kind of an asshole. But Thomas's character did not deserve it because he was just like, oh yeah, I love that movie, da da da. Like I love that.
Oh, Flagstaff.
Yeah, they're just like having fun. But like they're immediately like, oh, only Highlander. There could only be one. So
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
them's gonna die. And like, okay.
Albuquerque had to go.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, that's fine because it's like it's a sad fact because it still shows the stakes that
Yeah.
like, oh, people die. You can die quickly.
Yeah.
And it's
Even when he was like, we're slippery. We're slippery.
Yeah.
It's fine. And it wasn't fine.
Same scene. I know that it wasn't one shot, but it looked very one shot. Was that whole fight in that?
Well, yeah, in that sense, like it looked one shot, but like
Yeah.
they do it in a way where you can tell it's not, but they cut at really good moments.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't cut at
And
good
so it
moments.
was really cool to just see the transitions to different rooms and just the different like swinging actions happening, and
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun
That was
to watch that.
was a cool sequence. That whole fight. I love her like. It was weird. It was like kind of claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Probably on purpose a little bit. But like Rosario behind the bar, I was like, you don't have a lot of space for this for what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
like,
One thing that I really liked was bringing in Flagstaff and Albuquerque was showing how different groups of people are taking in the world around them. Because with Zombieland 1, we kind of only really had one perspective
Mhm.
because they didn't have any other people. So we were only getting like, the
Theirs and the
rules
girls.
for survival.
Now we have commandments.
Now we have commandments. Now there's different names for the zombies. Now, like, it kind of expanded the world more because in the beginning I was like, oh, are they not really going to interact with very many people? And so it was nice to like expand it of different perspectives.
I think that's kind of the magic they captured with the first one. When the first time you see Bill Murray, it's like, whoa, people are alive, and it's fucking Bill Murray.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
But
It's
this-
Bill Murray.
But this one here, it's like, oh, it's another version of them. Of course it would be.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then like, so it's like, oh, seeing who else is alive and how they made it
Right.
is a fun treat. And to me, it still begs the question: how did any of the passive people survive?
Very tall walls.
That's for qualms
I don't
later.
know how they
it was their
Um,
first time they did fireworks in a long time.
probably, but no,
I
I
have
mean,
two. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
You
go
were
ahead.
sti-
No.
I was gonna say I have two words: monster truck.
Oh my god.
When that, I know that it was so
spinning.
ridiculous,
The spitting.
but I was like,
Fuck yeah.
yes. There was
That's-
such like a man moment where you're like, yeah, Sunday.
well, it was
I
like
mean,
for me,
I
I
don't
was
know
like,
if it was a man moment. It was just a badass moment.
It was pretty-
Just fucking metal as shit.
It was
Yeah.
so.
I was like,
mad.
I want to play this sequence in a video game so bad.
yeah.
I want to be
Oh
in a
my
monster
God.
truck running over zombies.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
right now, I have not played one game with a car vehicle that you're fighting non-car things to be fun.
That's a good
There's
point.
not a lot of those. Like even
Yeah.
in Batman Arkham Knight, there's not a good version of
That's fair.
So
it. Fighting other vehicles is fun.
yeah.
recent game this year, Days Gone,
Okay.
has a
Good.
Oh, really?
It has
Okay.
a fun like. Actually, part of their DLC was just like survival missions, and they're like
Ooh.
they give you just your motorcycle and a little bit of rations or whatever the thing is, and you go against hordes of zombies. And
sounds
sometimes
fun.
you're in cars, and you're just like it's
I
fun.
might check out that game. I haven't.
No.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
One of my favorite moments was when Wichita and Columbus, and she comes up and is like, yes. And finally they're, yay,
Yes,
happy
yes.
feelings, whatever. That was not my favorite part. My favorite part is when
Oh, I
Madison
almost
comes
thought
up.
You were sweet.
Nope. When Madison comes up with the Hope fucking diamond
Oh,
and is
yeah.
like, this
Yes.
was for her, huh?
I guess I should give this back to you.
I guess I should give this back to you. And then just like hands
up.
over the Hope diamond to be like, go, have fun.
Well,
like, it was so cool to just like, she was totally fine with it. She was like, I don't give a
She's
shit.
looking for a hookup.
Yeah, I was just looking for a hookup. I'm not invested in this. Do what you want.
She's a happy-go-lucky person, and like
Yeah.
again, like that's why I kind of really like her because like she means no ill will to anybody.
Right.
Like, and she saved Wichita's life.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
maced a zombie, and then she got bit for it, or not bit, attacked by it before it. And like again, she's stupid and dumb and reckless, but like
They
by no
could
means
have
she
made
did.
her a nightmare person, but instead they made her like ditzy, but in the most lovable way.
And that tends to happen with most like end of the world scenarios. There's always that character that like is not part of the main cast, but is that person that's like, I'm doing the right thing. We have to go outside, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's like, guys, you do this, and then the smart the main character that we're with, it's like, no, we have to board up, we have to get prepared, we have to ready for fight. It's like, no, we're gonna make. It's like, oh my god.
She's the one. She ran like the RV scene. She's the one who like ran up to it and opened the door like very quickly. And I was like, oh my god, what if there's zombies in there? Like,
no.
Did you
I
just
know.
zombicide to spawn them in the?
yeah, basically. But then like they saw zombies around, and that was the distraction. So it was safe inside. But I was like, careful.
Yeah.
Like,
Please.
yeah,
Please.
Move
at least
slowly.
at least
Be
pull out a gun.
careful.
Well, I mean, also that goes.
That was your hint.
That goes to show again, like how has she survived for the last 10 years?
In a freezer.
But I do. Yeah.
I also like that they brought up that electricity is still running and that they gave a reason because I was so annoyed by it.
I missed that.
But I feel like they gave it like in a joking, like when they break the fourth wall, where they're like, "It's so weird that we still have electricity. It keeps raining, so the dams keep giving us electricity." Like, it's,
yeah,
is that what
that's what it
what
was.
Did they say? I totally missed that.
It was
like
when
an
they were in the
offhand
White
comment.
House. They're like, "Oh, it's so crazy that we still have electricity," and they're like, "Yeah, it's still
like they were
raining, so the
pointing out
dams are
Damn,
you
they're
know,
still making
running
power.
the."
Well, they're plotting out all the little logic gaps that stupid people who would think they're critics are saying.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's not.
I love
that's
that
not
stuff.
a critic thing.
Not a critic, but just people noticing and being like, "Why didn't you bring it up?"
It's dumb now. But yeah, I totally missed that because to me those things don't matter.
Yeah.
They totally do to me.
No.
Because
I'm
it's
one of
like
those people.
it's like what's happening with the characters, what's happening with the plot, what's happening with the world, what's the message I'm supposed to get, and then the message of this film is that like Columbus wants to not run anymore. He wants to lay some roots down. He wants to get married. He wants to never have to run away again. But then at the end of the film, he has to learn like home is where you make it. And I think that was great because he was at the verge of losing everyone. Like
Yeah.
Tallahassee
Yeah.
was going to leave,
Mhm.
and then once Tallahassee found someone that can anchor him, that brings the family back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the lesson from the first one. The first one's like, I have to go it alone. I'm the only person there. And at the very end, he realized like we're better together.
Mhm.
And then now he has to realize like it doesn't matter where we are. If we're together, then we're home. And
Yeah.
like that's what I'm saying.
It's an
Like
extension of that same.
in terms of writing, like, but where did the electricity come? Shut the fuck up, Jesus Christ! Watch the movie. Like
That was definitely the mole on the neck.
Yeah.
The thing that I super noticed, but it was a nice mole. I was like, oh, nice mole there.
in Zombieland 1, definitely wouldn't totally missed it. If I watched this one too, I'm like, yeah, I guess what? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Zombieland, one Pacific Playland that
Well, I
lights
mean,
up like a Christmas tree.
Here's one thing: is like most like zombie apocalypse things, like electricity is done. So when
Yeah.
you have something
Right.
like this, where you have neon lights and you have all this, you basically have running electricity
so much more
everywhere.
electricity than
Facilities
there
are
should
and so
ever
you're like,
be.
wait, how is that still a
But that's not what's broke. Who knows? Maybe the survivors that are, you
Yeah.
know,
you never know.
workers, electricity workers, they're like, I'll
Could
just
be
keep
their mission.
power.
It's like I want to keep electricity.
He wants to keep power on for themselves, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Oops.
Bunch of different.
Electric stoves.
I really liked also the part any type of intercommunication between Wichita and Madison.
oh, yeah.
Just like the cutting at each other and just like, oh, I wonder who I got this wonderful ring. It's like whoever not had this was
The
probably
first
stupid.
lady.
Yeah, and it's like she probably didn't want to be tied down or some shit. And it's just like
And then when she finally gave sass, they were like,
it's a little on the nose, but that's
I
the kind of
definitely missed this.
it's a little on the nose, but that's the kind of dialogue I love when like you're not saying explicitly what it is and
Right.
everyone knows what it's talking about.
Is
Yeah.
that sarcasm?
yeah.
And everyone's like,
yeah, it was.
And so I mean, yeah, but then also like how Columbus is like, don't listen to them, they're mean, they're terrible people. And I'm just like, it's kind of true though.
You're mean.
They are mean, but it's like that's how they survived. And it's like, I don't know. There's a lot of things I think I really like, just like small little notes. I mean, like he's like, you don't think I'm hot? It's like I think you're 406 hot. And I'm like, like remembering that thing.
Yeah.
And then the only thing they drink, fucking Code Red Mountain Dew. I'm like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yes.
Gives him a mug of that. yeah.
Fucking 10 years on that, your teeth are gone.
First thing.
Oh.
Well, it's like as the girlfriend who thought maybe she had escaped Code Red Mountain Dew. The first thing
Yeah.
you're given is Code Red Mountain Dew when you come back to visit.
oh my God.
So good. I mean, I liked the, still the implementation of the rules,
Yeah.
and then you expand the rules. So.
Span the rules. He's down
Yeah.
to 70
73.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
73.
Favorite characters?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
it's Tallahassee for me, hands down. He's just
And-
Woody Harrelson's just a genius and he's fun to watch
There's
no
not
matter
really
what.
side characters, right? Everyone's kind of in the
Yeah,
main.
everyone's kind of their own
there.
main.
The only
Hey,
two sides
Berkeley-
would probably be Madison and Berkeley.
Yeah, or the guy who keeps wanting group sex.
I was just gonna say
Group sex guy.
group
Yeah.
sex.
No?
No?
Okay, we can make it a thing.
All right.
It's like, or no, group steps. Oh, I'll join it. It's like, no.
Suck, suck, suck.
I feel like, yeah, you made the rule just so you can break it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's an awe factor, but I really like Madison. You're like,
Oh.
oh, you're sweet.
Yeah. I would hate to have her in a team, though.
No.
No.
I would watch
No.
all of her movies.
You know what her specials would be? They'd be like accidental.
Yeah.
Like her
Yeah.
special would be luck, and it'd be like, that's not a power. Yes, it is. It would
Like,
totally be
She's
like.
Domino.
It's very cinematic.
I also like Rosario Dawson's character. It's
Nevada?
fine. It's nice to
Mhm.
like Tallahassee. Like everybody kind of gets their thing in this movie in a sense.
Everyone gets to play.
Everybody, and it's nice to see him find somebody and find connection with
Yeah.
somebody in a romantic way. All the characters have a really fun aspect of them.
You know what I really do like as well as anyone who carries a gun, fucking aimbot. No one misses anything.
Nobody misses shots.
Fucking like Jesse Eisenberg's on top of the bus with buckshot and just shooting people from like 40 feet away. I'm like, you totally miss.
Yeah.
I will say, like, Jesse Eisenberg, he's not an actor that I always like.
Oh, I love him.
But this is one of those things that I'm like, he's.
But what I'll say in that defense is he got in the first one, he's already been established to like have been being one of the few survivors.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm like, you probably got good at marksman.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying, no matter what, no one
that
misses.
gun.
No one misses. I just love that.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of those are the tropes that you can play into when you're kind of a quasi parody.
Well,
of
it's
the
like
genre.
if you're following these survivors, then you know that they're not going to just die from something stupid. It'd have to be because of someone else's mistakes.
Right.
Caitlyn, favorite character?
I have 3.
The fuck?
I know.
Well,
You might as well
my-
say 4, and it's the main cast.
No, actually, none of the main cast are my
Okay.
favorite.
You're in a paddle
favorite
boat.
characters.
You like group
Wow.
sex.
You can
right?
only fit one person on the paddle boat with you.
That's it. No. Nevada first,
Okay.
and then Madison.
hmm
But they're on a scale that's like here, and then there's Bill Murray.
how about for those who are listening?
And then there's Bill Murray
They're like on a little like on a
for
little
like the
plateau.
end credit scene.
For those listening, they're on like a hill. That's pretty
They're on
high.
the ground level for
And then
on Babylon.
Bill Murray is like Mount Fuji,
K1.
Wow.
Mount Everest,
Okay.
like
Wow. Wait, Fuji or
to
Everest?
the moon. Both. Put them on top of each other. That's where Bill Murray is.
Wow.
That's that
For
end
that
scene
final scene.
of him kicking the zombie ass was just like, yes,
doing it the
this
way
is
that he
what
did
I
it.
bought this ticket for.
But doing it as a no-sell.
What do you mean?
Like, he just killed them, just
I know.
blank,
That-
dead eyed.
yes,
Almost dancing
yes,
through it.
Yes, he was just like, it didn't even register at all that like zombie apocalypse just kills like Al Roker. Like I'm a big fan, sir. I'm sorry,
Can we do the hairballs?
What if we did it together?
Did you stay for the after credit?
Yeah, that was dumb.
I didn't see
It was
that one.
amazing.
What was the after?
After the end credit,
He goes back to the interview.
he goes back to like,
Or
with,
if it
like,
were in
the-
Spanish, it would be.
It's
and he's like,
wow.
forgive my accent to
That's hilarious.
the lady interviewer.
Yeah.
I just really like Bill Murray
Nice.
a lot.
So it's more like Madison and Nevada.
Madison,
Bill
Nevada.
Murray!
Bill fucking Murray.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So
That's my scale.
Quimus?
Yeah, I don't think you watched the movie then. But, no, I'm
But
kidding.
you didn't? Did you say your
Yeah.
favorite?
Yeah, Tallahassee.
Tallahassee.
Oh, okay.
Tallahassee, yeah.
Good. Thanks for listening.
I don't listen to him ever.
Wow.
So why do you ask again?
That's crazy.
That's so crazy.
I think mine's Columbus. I'm
Nice.
a fucking hopeless romantic at heart, and I want that.
What? Tom, a
companionship.
hopeless romantic? We never knew.
But also I do like how, there's a lot of things where he's like, there are very like practical things like, hey, maybe we shouldn't blow up the car. Or it's like, hey guys, let's go together. Or like, I love it when like he says like, I got bison blood, and he's like just segues away.
The way he did.
just goes.
I knew from
And
the
fully
moment he
commenced,
got on the
too.
motorcycle, I was like,
He's
oh,
gone.
he's not gonna.
He's gone.
That's not
He's-
gonna.
I
go
really
well.
respect you because you listen to me when I'm talking. Just drives away, and then he's like, it's really practical. Like Zombieland smells bad, so I like the smell of candles. I'm like, that's fucking true.
Yeah.
And it's like there's so many things that like he kind of points out, like or like wanting to have sex with Abraham Lincoln looking. It's like it's not that big of a deal, and it's like I get it. Okay, here's a little fucking post-its.
I also love in front of Babylon
Mhm.
where Tallahassee blew up the minivan,
Mhm.
and then he's like, "Oh, they can't take my guns." He's like, "You can wait in the car."
I did see
On fire.
It did help too because you kind of I saw one of the press junkets with them and they were talking and then like Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg have such that like same like going
Energy.
back where it was kind of just like, well, I mean, you didn't have to be in the movie. I'm the narrator. I was like, this is true, and I was like,
Wow.
holy shit. So yeah, I just really kind of like that neuroticness, but also like it's a little bit nostalgia of like the first movie because like he was that gamer kid and I was that gamer kid, and it's like I hopefully would survive in that same way, but it's like you survive because you're just being a very big survivalist. It's not
Yeah.
even that you're that like Tallahassee who's just like a badass
Yeah.
wiping his tears with $100 bills.
That was.
It's just
really
that
good.
like
Oh my
I
God.
know how to survive.
Yeah.
I think Columbus would have been my favorite in the first one. I liked his like nervous energy and not really having that confidence.
Check in the back seat.
And then in the second one, he kind of has this like comfortable confidence that came with like having a fulfilling
10
relationship
years.
and having his family and
Well,
kind of knowing more. So that nervousness went away. So I was like, eh.
I mean, it gets also added to the point that Ali really pointed out was like on top of the bus where he's like, 11 o'clock. Oh, wait, what's the number? No, don't worry, I'll get it. He just shoots it. It's like, all right, like, hey, you can only say so much, but it's like, all right, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So this is those kind of things.
Yeah.
Wanna go to-
Quimicums?
Quim
Gripes?
Quam it up.
I'll
Qualms?
start.
Yes.
Do it.
You already kind of said it in your initial reactions.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. It was the big qualm for me was the stakes weren't exactly high. Like even like Madison, I knew that she wasn't dead. So I was
Yeah.
like, I was like,
Show me the
okay,
body.
yeah,
feeling?
show me the body.
I
But
thought she
also
was
when
dead.
she was eating the almonds and she started having because what they did is
And
that
she
they slowly
shit
they
herself?
they kept going back to her and she would slowly get red. And I was like, she has a fucking nut allergy.
No allergy.
This
Yeah.
is so
you knew right
really-
away.
In my mind, I was like, it could be that, but also I was like, oh, hopefully. In my mind, I was like, I didn't know what they were gonna do. I was
Yeah.
really concerned because I was like, oh, if they kill her, it shows me in my mind like, oh, people
Yeah.
they can die. Like here's a quick cameo.
That's kind of
they're
how I
dead.
took it. Yeah.
And then when they got
Um,
around, I was like, oh,
It worked on
okay.
me.
And then at the end when they're having the big like fight scene, in a sense, it was essential. No, I'm just kidding. You knew that everything was going to be all right. And there's a part of me that goes that my qualm is kind of on a scale in which that this isn't that kind of movie. It's not Walking Dead where
Right.
you're 10 minutes away from losing a beloved character.
Electromatic draw.
It's really just it's a
What's
fucking rock
it's
and roll movie.
playing in
and-
space.
Yeah, it's a jaunty romp through the zombie apocalypse. Everybody's gonna live. Everything's gonna be fine. But we're just gonna have fun doing it. So the part of it that was my like the thing that really just like hit it in front of me. No, you go because I gotta.
No, because
process
I think it's the same. Well, I was gonna say the reason my qualm is that scene
Yeah.
only because I feel like they went a little too far to make her look like a zombie
Yeah.
When
her
she was-
tongue
yeah.
black.
because her face like
Oh,
and her
yeah.
tongue
And it was
like,
the same
it was
color
the same
of
vomit
as like
as
Thomas
them
Middleditch
two.
and them. Yeah.
They looked identical. So
Yeah.
that's the part that I had a little bit of bother with. I was like, any sense that I would have had to like think that she's still alive or something, at least in
Yeah.
human form. Like I was like, she'd probably come back as a zombie or something, but like for me to believe that she's
Yeah, I left it
human
open where I
still.
was like, wait,
was like-
are they gonna make some sort of joke where she's a zombie later? And he's like, he has to make the it was sweet kind of
'cause
joke.
it was like they showed it,
I'm glad
like
we had
that,
what we had or
and then
whatever.
they kind of double confirmed it with the team
Yeah.
when they turned identically, and then when she came back, I was like, oh, that's kind of lame.
There was also kind of like at the final scene, there was this kind of, I don't know if I'm using the right phrase to explain this. It was almost like a false negative where, so what they did is that you thought everything was done with the monster truck in a sense where they cleared out a lot of them.
Mhm.
There was just a few left. And they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they're running away and they get up to because we saw them kind of doing the montage of getting ready.
Yeah.
And then we get up all the way to the building and you kind of realize that there's more to the plan. And it's like, I don't know, it was the way that it was presented to us that there was, when they got done with the monster truck and they're like, okay, we got to run. It didn't seem as many as it ended up being.
Mm.
Does that make sense? Where it was like,
I would
Initially,
say
like
that
the
you
initial
thought there
horror.
were
it was
way
almost
more?
like, it was like, okay, it's almost like the fight was over. They're going to close the doors. I could be completely just like off.
I mean,
you thought that there were a lot more
no,
zombies
he thought there was a
than
lot
there were?
less.
I thought there was a lot
Oh,
less. And then
oh,
the way that they
It
presented
looked like some zombies were born.
Yeah, it was like-
It turned into World War Z.
Yeah, and so I mean, I would say that's just like a logic gap where it's like I thought there was only like 18 left, now there's 40 left. It's like,
No.
Jesus.
Well, they kind of left it open ended because when they drew that the shot of them like all running towards the thing, they
Yeah.
only show you the like front half of the horde, so that you have no
Yeah,
idea how
okay.
many there
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
actually are.
Yeah.
So I think.
well, I
that's-
mean, at that point, like I would say it's still, valid. It's like a disconnect of like, oh, I don't know the true scale of how many
You
zombies
set it
there
up.
are.
right.
Like they could have cut to a different spot.
And I mean, that's I
People
think that's
come
truly.
in and like a third spot.
it's
Zombies
it's
come
truly
in.
valid
Right.
of
They would
like
have really sold it.
comparatively to like you in Lord of the Rings to Towers, you could tell how
You
many
knew
fucking
exactly how
you know,
many.
and then like Avengers Endgame. How
feel
many?
the
How many of
stakes.
Thanos is? I don't know. It's countless.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
And that kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably playing into the stakes thing, where it's
Yeah.
like you're not clearly showing me what the stakes are
And
in the first place.
The other kind of stakes thing is with even like the big new baddie, the T-800. Like
Mhm.
I didn't feel like they were especially like they take
They were.
several more shots, but I was like
20.
what I
Get
really
them on the
wanted
ground and
what
step
I,
on their head.
What I really wanted more of was like what I wanted in this was like one that was like really tested the stakes.
And
Right.
Like, oh
I thought
shit,
the runner
like,
was going to
these,
be
like,
that or whatever.
I thought the T-800 was going to be the
yeah.
The
oh
test.
shit, like, and then they kept hinting at this new kind of zombie, and then when they revealed it, I was like, really?
Mhm.
That's I wanted like a Resident Evil nemesis.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
shit, like
mutating.
I would-
hardcore.
That's where I thought it was going too.
I would add on to the stakes thing, and I think we have to kind of look at it where the first film. What was the stakes in the first one?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
that's what I was gonna
that's the
say
balance
is-
scale where it's like,
I feel like it's less even because the first one, both of them are in peril and like their lives are in danger right there.
Well, everyone's in peril in the second one. Like they're all
Yeah,
hugging because they've
But
resigned hope.
that's really only established like in the third act.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
it's not something that's like built up to.
in the first one, the only thing it's a rescue mission.
Yeah,
it's not
which
even
is-
like a high tense moment
Yeah.
of a rescue mission. In this one, it's like in the first one, we all felt it because this was the first time seeing it,
Mhm.
and we didn't know what the rules were. And now it's a sequel. I think it gets like it's watered down.
Yeah, well, I
because
mean,
we
that-
know these characters are going to survive.
That's what I was hinting. If I guess I can transition to my qualm.
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is kind of based on that. Did you want to?
I have another qualm, but
Okay.
we're kind of on the
Yeah.
same vein.
So it was that. It was like the stakes aren't. They don't have to be crazy high, but I felt like they were a bit more watered down compared to the first movie, and it was a lot of the same, which is kind of the danger of a 10-year-old or 10 year later sequel, which is like you're doing a lot of the same jokes, which I appreciate, but you're not necessarily like building on them as much. Like they built on the whole 10 Commandments thing, but there was I felt like there was a lot of missed opportunity to like change things up, like shake it up in the sense of like don't have another like go rescue the girls mission, which is kind of where this ended up in a weird way.
I would say, I mean, the tough thing is like there's example for example, right? Like with Walking Dead, it's tough because, and also zombies as subject matter because like death is a theme in your story. So it's like, how do you trump death?
Right.
And then we saw with Taken, make it where the dad gets kidnapped. It's like that doesn't fucking work. Like it's sometimes that's why they kind of stay with the same things, and I think it's interesting to see in that sense. But I get that.
Just reach that like right mix of like, hey, this really built on.
In a way, you get either Taken or you get Hangover 2, where it's the same
Right.
fucking
See,
character. It's like,
I
oh,
believe there's a middle ground.
I feel like with what I immediately thought when they showed the hawking zombie,
Yeah.
taking an eye out and using it on the
That was
scanner,
dope.
that was dope. But
When no
what I thought was going to be the like progression of that was the T-800s are going to be the zombies that can use a tool, and that someone was going to lose some aspect of their body to raise the stakes.
And
of
that was
like,
it. Like even
Tallahassee could lose a hand or something, and then they're like,
And then
"Fuck!"
he'll
Right.
get a badass hook or something
Right,
like that.
But even the
like,
Homer,
go
like-
full crazy.
I feel like the Homer was also a missed opportunity. Like they made one joke. Or no, he came back. They came back at the end.
Can I add on this?
Yeah,
My qualm is all of those. Is all of the explanation of zombies.
Yeah.
In the
Right.
first one, they don't spend a lot of time with that. There's like, oh, it's a fucking clown.
right.
And it's
Yeah.
like that's the big deal. But like to me, it's like
They
set
come
up-
up against them as they go about their
Right.
adventure.
Well, yeah, and like to me, and this happens actually in a lot of shonen genre anime, where it's like, all right, cool, we're fighting. These are fighting. Like I'm skilled. You're skilled. You're not skilled. These are cannon fodder characters. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they'll be like, okay, so his power level is 10, yours is 15, and his is 25. It's just a number to just arbitrarily say it's more difficult.
Right.
And so it's like, this guy's a this thing, this guy's a that thing. It's like some of them run, some of them don't. Some of them are
Right.
smart, some of them are not.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to label them, and then labeling them immediately creates this arbitration of like, this is a stronger one.
We
Like,
set up
Right.
expectations for the story if you spend time on it.
Well, yeah, it's irritating because to me, it's like, why couldn't, like in Walking Dead, what I really like about it, it's like, okay, these zombies have been out in the South for years, and they're melty, burny ones. These ones have been in the swamp for years, so like their limbs are falling apart. Like you get different flavors. It doesn't necessarily mean like one's stronger than the other, but some of them move better at night. Some of them don't ever stop moving, even if they're on fire. Like this, like never, you didn't need to name them. I felt like it was a nice shtick for like comedy's sake.
Yeah.
And just to give you like, you know, that same exposition that like the first one did. It's like, welcome to Zombieland, da 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 da. But this one, it just felt like, who gives a shit? Because that's not what the story's about. What the story should have been like, to me, like what you do is like, there are more zombies, and they're getting smarter, and they're only seeking out populated areas. And so like, no matter what, you're always on the run. And it doesn't matter if they're like, this is a dumb one, but like any of them could have been that.
But
Mhm.
you
like-
just want to explore, like they could explore like a different facet of post-apocalyptic life, not
Right.
necessarily just like labeling zombies, because
Yeah.
zombies are there and
Yeah.
they're the backdrop anyways.
Because I think with the slippery slope with like let's say a T800, right? What's better than T800? T1000. What's better than T1000? TX. What's better than TX?
It's like you just where's the upper limit go?
Right.
Like sooner or later, we're doing fucking like anime. Now we're doing like this zombie eats other zombies.
His quirk.
And fucking turns into a monster truck and shits out
Yeah.
baby zombies.
Zombieland 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Curious,
Like
I'm curious to see what your take on Zombieland 3
I'm
is. We'll get at the
in.
end. But like, are you setting yourself up for having to introduce even stronger characters in Zombieland 3 and then equally not use them?
But
Or-
I think that's the thing where it's like at that point you're just franchise building,
Right.
right? Because you're like, oh well, now these zombies swim, 'Cause,
Which
you
is
know, They're
fine.
talking about like, hey, let's go to an island.
but we're talking about a 93-minute comedy
Yeah,
is the
s-
problem.
And so
Right.
to me, like that introduction of that mechanism of like let's label them and create like these are faster. These ones like I'm not a big.
It doesn't
subscriber.
matter in this story.
Yeah, I mean, if it was an Elseworld story, like let's follow Berkeley and Madison,
Or
and then maybe that's a
If
thing.
it's a thing in The Walking Dead where you have seasons to explore that stuff, yeah, that probably fits better than
Caitlin?
that.
One thing that super bothered me, especially with them being T800s that are super strong, super fast, and can't be stopped for anything, when they're doing that like big hug, this is the end, that goes on forever. Forever.
This is a really long hug.
This is the longest hug. I was like, y'all are dead.
Did
y'all
you-
have been dead for about a minute and a half
Caitlin,
now.
did you watch The Longest Night?
No.
With Game of Thrones, you did watch it.
I did watch it. Yeah,
Remember
you're
how
right.
fucking
Sorry.
long they gave up and they didn't die?
I don't agree.
I would say, but also, so on top of just to have talking points, people do that to try to create dramatic fucking tension. Same thing with like I thought there was only like 18 zombies left and there's like fucking 80 left. In that sense with characters of like, you don't know if they're like going to die or not. These characters, the four main characters, of course they're not going to die, but I did feel a little tense when they were going up the stairs. Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
did feel
Yeah.
like Tallahassee,
was scary.
Tallahassee was going to sacrifice himself because he wanted
I thought so.
to have the kill of the year as well as have that one last ride.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, he's willing to die for them. And so there are effective ways in the film that are found to make
Right.
sure like, oh, someone might die. And that's how you kind of do those situations where you can split them up.
Mhm.
Stranger Things, you know, they do that
Yep.
shit all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I hate that though.
So it's I mean, sometimes
Which is
that's how
want-
that's how all Lord of the Rings is. They just split up the characters and they're like, yeah, they
which
might
like
die.
Abigail's character is gone for a lot of the movie, which
and
is a little
how has she avoided all this danger?
yeah, very Rogue from X3 kind of handled in that way, where it's like just ship her off for
Yeah,
this
you get,
movie.
you get a child star who's Academy Award winner.
yeah,
You
and
know,
then like just
course.
send her off for half the movie. That's fine.
Whoa.
Right?
It's just. Can I name a couple of other?
Yeah.
ones?
Yeah.
You mentioned, well, it is one of my favorite scenes, but you were talking about Rosario Dawson shooting in that fight.
Yeah,
The logic in that for me, like there were times where I was like, how is she not like shooting
shooting somebody
like
a good guy.
them? Like
There's
the
a
good
lot
guys.
of stray bullets in this whole movie. There's a lot of stray bullets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
what
I'm
I was
like-
saying. Like everyone has aimbot.
They're,
Yeah.
they're slippery.
Yeah.
there's
They're
slippery.
slippery.
No,
Yeah.
apparently they're not.
Zombicide.
That's
And I'm like,
fine.
I'm pretty sure
Um,
you're shooting at them while they're wrestling on the ground.
Yeah. There were
Yeah.
there were a few shots that I was like, how is he not dead?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna everyone listening, we do play this board game called Zombicide. Check it out. Josh, your biggest qualm with that game was that if you missed, you shot your friend.
It's real.
So now you know
It's
that
true.
those two conflict.
So we're not just
Where's
standing.
the triangle? Called out.
Our pieces might be just standing on the board, but in
Yeah.
the fiction of it, I like to imagine that we're like wrestling on the ground.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
killing
yeah.
them, but they're not dying anyway.
Yeah, we're just like fighting.
Yeah. So I mean, it's weird. It's like, what do you like? They might shoot him on accident. I mean, that would have been cool if you think about it. Like they got shot in a leg, and then Tallahassee can't run anymore. That built the stake for the end where like he does the buffalo run, and then it's like he can't make it. His leg hurts.
He's gonna
and then
die.
when one grabs, it's like, oh my god, it's like he's in so much pain. Da da da. You never
Yeah.
know. So like, but again, what are you asking from the film?
Yeah.
Are we wanting a dramatic movie or not?
No, you just want the buffalo run on as a zombie run.
Oh my God.
I have one more qualm.
Yeah.
And it is okay, so Little Rock.
Oh, yes.
At the end, she
I don't know.
she goes to Babylon. Yeah, she goes to Babylon and they come and she's like, "Oh, I don't want to go with you guys." Blah blah blah. And then like
Like a
on a
bitch.
dime, she transitions to the. It was like there was this spectrum, and on a dime, she was the. I don't.
I feel like there's a deleted scene.
Would
I
did
feel like
her
there's a
and
scene that
Berkeley break
showed-
up?
No.
Huh?
Did her and Berkeley break up?
No,
yeah,
they're just-
they,
they're
no, they
fine.
did.
What happened?
She says,
Instead.
"We can't do this anymore. This
What?
isn't going to work out."
When?
She said it. It was almost in passing at one
Yeah.
point. She's just like, "This isn't going to work." Like she said that one time, and then at the end, when Madison's like, "Do you mind?" And she's like, "Just do it." And then they start making out. That's literally.
That's it.
That's
That's all
okay.
it
That's
was.
it. So, okay, but see, on Josh's point, on a dime, like she's like, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to play these stupid drums.
But then she lost. Like her reason for staying was kind of like the comfort in her relationship with Berkeley, and she's like, "This is all bullshit, but I'm down with it." And then being like, "This is not going to work with Berkeley," is how she's like,
I just would
"I
have
don't
liked
like
to
this.
have
This
like
isn't
a,
me.
But when does
I don't
that
fit in
slow
here."
roll
But when does
into
that
it.
happen?
Right. It's very
it's
passing.
when the T-800s are on their way and they find out that they're coming, and then he says something stupid, and she's like, "Everyone who fucking Bob Marley is, you poser."
Oh, that's
This
right.
isn't gonna work.
That's
literally
right. I
like
remember
on
now.
a dime where you were like, oh, she's gonna be. No, she's totally a different person.
It's
now.
like out of
It's like
nowhere,
she
she
could
just
s-
remembered who all those artists were.
Well, she saw. Well, no, I
No.
think she saw.
She was
like
playing
she
into his
accepted the
ego and
bullshit
whatnot.
Do you think
because
that?
she wanted to be
Yeah.
with a cute guy.
I thought she
think-
was actually dumb.
No.
I
No.
think for the first one, maybe she was like, "I don't know who that is, whatever." But then over time, she's like, "I know this is all bullshit, but I just want to. I want to play into this fantasy so that I can live a
Well,
life
that fantasy
I
got
want."
shattered, so there
But
was
it got
nothing left.
shattered, so then it was like, well, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
I like that as a narrative, but I think it could have been, more explicitly shown versus like, well, it
Right.
keeps raining.
I didn't need to have
You
like
know?
a montage of her going through her thoughts. It was just like, boom, boom, I'm changed.
Also,
The fact that you guys already forgot both of those points of being
Show
like,
some- I
this
did
isn't going
forget
to
it.
work anymore, and Madison and Berkeley making out like for a whole second and a
Oh,
half
I remember,
at the
I
end.
remember
I remember
Madison
makeup.
making out, but like I don't remember like what
Madison
changed it.
kissing a guy. I remember that.
Like out of nowhere, it just showed like, oh, I'm not going to say goodbye to Tallahassee, and even though he wants to like hug her and say goodbye, and then it's like she's still not going to leave, and it's like I don't know
Yeah.
where it's like now I'm part of the team, and also I have this gun that no one knew about, and it's like whoa, 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 whoa.
Well,
I guess
no
she-
one knew about.
My
oh,
ga-
oh,
my-
oh,
because
that
everyone
she
burned the
hid.
guns,
yeah.
Oh.
and then
Yeah.
she still had Elvis's gun, and it was like random. It was just
That-
it just felt very like. Why spend the time on the water thing or other things and then not show like the actual like change of the relationship? Because you could actually show real growth between that character because she was a child last time we saw her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like the thing I love about the thing again in Zombieland, she was a smart kid kind of, person, which I don't normally like kids in movies, but it's like they're the ones that have the can do, I'm smart because I have kid ingenuity.
Right.
Then we become an adult and you're like, emotions.
Right.
Stupid.
Well, she's playing that like the hit girl
Yeah.
role where it's like you expect a sweet little girl, which is kind of like how
Who's
they
badass,
That's
yeah.
how they bamboozle you in the first one, where you expect her to be just like a sweet little girl, and then she's
Totally not.
totally not.
Caitlin, you were saying?
My qualm that was in both of the movies was they took something just so obviously not the right decision and did it anyway. And in the first one, it was driving the Hummer into the lake.
Welcome to our first Zombieland movie episode. I'm kidding.
They're connected. Driving the Hummer into the lake was like, everything that's bad that's happening right now is because you did this,
Mhm.
you dumbass. Why would you ever do that?
Mhm.
And then the second one was melting all of the guns. Like
Yeah.
you just know.
You
Like
just know.
you see it in front of you. You're like, this is how we endanger everyone.
What would have
And
been
then
a
they
better
continue it.
reveal
Well-
would be like, yeah, we're taking your guns away, and then when he says, "Oh no, that's how we made these," and you're like, that would have been a funnier reveal because we're like,
Rather
wait,
than
they haven't been hoarding guns; they've been making these little peace signs with them.
right.
That's
It's
ridiculous.
just-
I mean, I think in a sense, like again, we'll try to keep
it
it.
was
not-
on purpose.
Well, yeah, we'll try to keep it not political, but it's a little political, especially during the time right now where we're talking about it. Like,
oh sure,
like security as well as having walls and like taking away the guns because we don't need to protect ourselves because we're in a great place and we only love each other, but we can't protect ourselves from the evils outside. So it's like it's having that conversation of like, what do you do when the walls don't work anymore? Like
I didn't see it as much as that. I for me the Hummer and the melting of the guns was just like, this is a stupid thing that no one would ever actually think to do, but we're gonna do it so that we can do what we
I
want.
could totally see this becoming memeified and being like, see what happened? And it's like, it's a movie, but it's like, it is talking about those things. Like when you give up your ability to defend yourself, then what are you going to do? You're going to use plastic and walls to defend and push people off cliffs.
They did kill a zombie with a watermelon, so
Yeah.
you
That
know.
was pretty
But
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So I had also question, and maybe it might have been my theater, was when all the narration happening, was it like in reverb?
no.
I didn't have that experience.
My theater had reverb every time
Huh.
he narrated. And I was like, throughout the entire movie, it was normal. his narration reverb.
Weird.
I hated it. It
No.
sounds like
Center
two
channel?
of him,
No, not at all.
and I was like, this sucks.
Weird.
I think
Where do you
there might have been a
typically
weird
stick narration?
thing with
It
that.
was in-
Center
it was-
narration
beginning.
is like dialogue, and so it's always in the
What
center.
channel? Center.
It's in the center.
Interesting.
Yeah, it sucks.
Shouldn't have been weird then.
Way to go, Burbank 16, where you have the Joker fight.
I saw it.
That's actually
There?
where
I saw it there.
I saw it
that's
in
where
Prime.
I saw it. I saw it in
Oh,
Prime too.
I saw it in Prime, and it had
Didn't get that.
reverb on that. I was like,
not get that.
maybe that's how the movie is. Maybe it'll be a shitty movie. And then the rest of the movie was like, fine. I was like, okay, maybe that one part's shitty. And so that's why I asked you guys if you had that experience.
Nope, not at all.
No.
So I will
That's
take
very
that
strange.
out. That's I want. You know what? I'm just
Thanks, Bungo.
way to go. Way to go.
Thanks, Bungo.
Bungo.
Thanks, Obama.
Wow.
right,
Punchy
let's-
and
hey,
Obama.
But at least there's group sex,
That
right?
caused
So
all the-
rating?
Rating. Let's get a rating. So first up on the docket is Ollie, Josh, and it's
I
Josh, Caitlin, and Tom. Alphabetical. Go. Caitlin.
What? Oh.
Or I mean, you want to go by last name, then Josh. No matter what, I'm
it's
last.
Caitlin.
Let's say the
Uh,
Caitlin.
4.8.
What the? Okay. All of the
Wow.
fucking you gave like a paragraph of qualms.
I know.
All right, I'm
but
done.
also
I'm done.
with my qualms, like
You had a good
all
fucking
of these
time.
things were on purpose. Everything was deliberate. And even the parts that really annoyed me, like they did it definitely on purpose.
Mm.
And it all works together so perfectly. Honestly, any movie with Bill Murray deadpan fighting zombies, I will give as close to a 5 as I possibly can.
Wow.
That's fair. I've
like every
had
time,
positives
I-
that take my score higher than the negatives take it lower.
So
Yeah.
you need to watch The Dead Don't Die. It's a recent movie
Well, there
with
we
Bill
go.
Murray.
Oh, well, I will be
Fighting
watching that for
zombies.
Is that
sure.
if I'm a science man, witches. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
What, Selena Gomez and Adam Driver?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh shit.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
definitely watching that. But yeah, all
totally
of the
different
like
movie,
silly,
but, yeah.
crazy things that are happening in this, even when I'm intensely annoyed, I had a great fucking time. I will watch this again. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
something that I'm just gonna like shove under
So
the rug.
now
and
that you've
pretend
watched
it never
both
exists.
Zombieland 1 and 2, are you gonna want to buy them physically? Do you like them that much?
I think so.
That's good.
And I wasn't scared.
Well, that's a big. That to me, that's a bigger
even
triumph.
When,
Oh,
even
you're
when there were
growing.
scary zombies jumping out and eating people, I wasn't afraid.
That's-
and that's a huge
To me, yeah,
plus
that's
for
why I'm
me.
more happy to hear that you're like wanting to get into that. Because if you could start getting into that, then who knows what other doors might open.
Doors with zombies that are mildly
Doors
more
to room
scary.
406.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Amber Heard, baby. Next one is Josh.
Because Tom decided.
Alphabetical.
That's fair.
Josh always does it. Alphabetical.
I will do a 4.5.
4.5. And then for Tom, 3.2.
I'm not even surprised. Not even
3.2. I
surprised.
really enjoyed it, and I love the film. It's really fun, but there's just a lot of shit there. I guess one of the comments I didn't fucking mention, the opening sequence.
Oh really?
I fucking hated it.
Oh, I
Because
didn't
like
like
a
the
slow
music.
motion?
No,
Thank you
it's
for
not even the
joining us
music.
again.
It's just shot looking like a teaser. It's shot looking
Yeah.
like the Deadpool trailer, like
well, it's
freeway
like the
sequence
first
that got
movie's
leaked.
opening, kind of.
I don't mind that. Like the first one, because I mean the DP is different,
Yeah.
and you would think it just looks like every. And I've said this earlier today. Everyone at home, it looks like Doolittle, Maleficent, some of the Avengers sequences where it's like this is a fake world. This is a
Yeah.
fake
Mhm,
place.
mhm.
I just see a plate of a person and shooting things that don't matter. Like I love the credits. I love how they all interact with people. That's totally fine.
That was cool.
I like the subject matter. It just
the
looks
look.
bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like every
give you
other
that.
action sequence other than that looked great, but that
I-
just looked terrible
That's the way it was shot.
to
I
me.
like-
To me,
I
I thought it was
like
just
It's
like
probably green screen.
I don't know. Yeah, of course it's green screen, but like I was just like,
I could tell there was one that where Tallahassee was like flag polling this guy over him, and you could tell that it was like this guy was just like
Cut out.
cut
weird.
on
Well, like,
right there, like
slow
it
mo
was.
shots with like 300 looked better than that.
Fair, yeah.
You know, it's like, how?
It's probably done differently.
But
Like the method.
How? You know?
Yeah.
Ollie,
How?
your number.
My number is a 4.1,
Oh, fuck.
Ha! You are the grump and I am not.
but
by a long shot.
By
it's a
a
little
lot.
unfair though because I think our scale is 1.1 points apart. Like your 3.2 is equal to my 4.1 is what I'm getting at.
Well, I enjoyed the movie, but to me, I still see a lot of the flaws in it.
Yeah.
And so me, like emotionally, is away from like how I rate the movie. I could love it, but I'm like, it's a garbage fucking movie sometimes. You know?
I feel like the flaws were on purpose though. Like everything that I was annoyed by or that stuck out, it feels like it was
Yeah.
intentional.
If
well, I'm talking about writing.
for me, yeah, well,
right,
it's not.
that too.
No.
Woody
No.
Harrelson. Woody Harrelson alone is what made it it brought it into the fours. It would have
wow.
been. It would have been like a 3.9. 3.9 was like what I was
My
thinking on my
God.
drive over.
If I had like rated based on cast alone, so many movies would be like in 6s.
Yeah,
But I love a lot of actors.
That's the thing. It's like mine is very subjective. So it's like if
That's fine.
If one
You don't have-
person, if I love one thing a lot, it's gonna take it.
You don't
up.
have
Mine
to
is-
floof up your number for mine. Don't worry about it. It's chill. It's okay. You don't have to be the
Here's
grump all the fucking time,
thing.
Ollie.
No.
Here is the thing.
What's the thing?
To each their own.
Yeah.
This is your numbers.
Hey, it's like, you
Okay.
know,
Oh,
no,
it's
I'm just
like
making an
your-
observation.
It's like your opinion, dude.
It's just like,
It's just
your
like
opinion,
your-
man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Essentially,
That's
it's like your number.
so crazy. We're all being
This is like the
crazy.
most sequel fucking episode we've ever had. It's a sequel of our own show.
This was like their
Well,
Zombieland 1 review.
Well, I feel complete.
We didn't have a
Oh my
Zombieland 1
God.
review.
Well, everybody at home, what was your rating? What did you think of
What were you gonna say
Zombieland
before
2?
that?
I did. My brain went. bloop.
Braiding.
What was
Brady.
your qualm? What
What
did
was
you
your
like?
thing?
Who's your favorite person
Who's your daddy?
in the world?
Did you shut up and nut up?
Who's your
What-
favorite
what was
daddy
the
in
new
the
term?
world?
Did you kick dicks?
Hell yeah.
Did you kick dicks today?
Time to kick dicks.
Just because it rhymes.
Love that fucking line.
Anyway, we appreciate you all stopping by, watching or listening, whatever you are doing to
Or smelling.
put us in your smelling
Yankee
We
candles.
can smell.
Yankee
we got
candles.
smell-o-vision yet? No?
nerd on candles.
Yep.
We're doing it.
Don't promise something.
Yeah,
Too
let's
late.
look into that. Let's look into that first.
Anyway, if you are new to Nerd On, you can check us out. Nerdon.tv has all the information about Nerd On the podcast and all of our different shows that we do, because there are a few. You can check out our YouTube. It has all the different shows that we do there. Yeah, lots to come. We're very excited about all the good stuff in the zombie apocalypse. But yeah, share us with your friends, your family, your zombie friends and family.
Hope you're having a spooktacular Spooktober
Yes.
with our
please.
spooky episodes
Yes.
this month.
But yeah, that's it. That's it. I gotta stop it here. You know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.